Hello. The Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verses 4 to 6. Arjuna said, "How can I attack with arrows men like Bhisma and Drona, who are worthy of my veneration, O Krishna? They're my superiors. Certainly I should not kill such great beings. It would be better to live as a beggar in this very life than to desire to gain by killing my superiors in society. It would be too difficult to enjoy any such pleasures if they're tainted with blood. Nor do we even know what would be better. We can't know if we shall conquer or if they will, but I know that by killing those before me, the sons of Dhritarashtra, I would not will to live." So Arjuna here is responding. You'll remember in the previous video, the first 3 verses, Krishna finally says something to all of these excuses that Arjuna has been creating about why he can't fight. And Arjuna stuns him, because I think that, or rather Krishna stuns him because Arjuna is stunned because he, I think, would have expected from Krishna some sense of sympathy. He probably expected Krishna to say something to encourage him to fight, but not, to call him dirty for what he was thinking, not to tell him, to say that it was disgraceful, and not the way that Krishna responds is so intense. It is shock. It's the guru smacking the disciple in such a way that the shock itself makes him wake up. But the first response of Arjuna is not to suddenly say, "You're right." If it was, the Gita would be much shorter. But instead, his first response after the shock is to reiterate his fears, to reiterate his doubts, but in a way that is, again, more sincere than it was before. He comes back to the clever excuses that his ego had been thinking up fall apart, and now he's speaking at least somewhere closer to the heart, because he starts talking about, these men like Bhisma and Drona, these were his teachers. They had taught him everything he knew. They taught him how to fire the bow and arrow he was so famous for shooting. They taught him statecraft. They taught him how to be a leader, how to be a king. They taught him how to ride in a chariot. They were responsible for making him. They were his beloved teachers, and they were his relatives. They were uncles and grandparents. They were people that were of great importance to him. And so he speaks out of the heart, saying, "These people are, to be honest, better than me. They're better than anything I've done so far. They're more important than me, and you're asking me to fight against them and to have to kill them because of this war." But you notice a progression in the course of these verses, that even by the 6th verse, by the last part of what he says, he starts becoming more sophisticated again. So he catches a moment of sincerity, and in that moment of sincerity, it can be possible that if you're sincere in the way you address your fears, you can change yourself, or you can take those fears and start to weave the web of illusion around them, to weave the web of excuses and of doubts, and to express why you can't do something, right? Instead of saying, okay, this fear is real, and now how do we change it? Or how do we transcend it? Or how do we move ahead through it? You can instead say, this fear is real, so I'm going to start thinking up much more clever things than just I'm scared, as a way to avoid having to go forward in what I know I must do. We'll continue with this shortly.